Hey, y'all, Jeremy James here, the Bourbon Realtor, coming at you for this week's special edition of Barstools and Bourbon, where we're checking out Wilderness Trail 8-Year Weeded. All right, so by now you guys know that it's no secret we are big time fanboys of Wilderness Trail Distillery and all the things that they're doing out there. Just picked up this media sample with the bottle, of course. Oh, how sexy that 8-year bottle looks. Love the gold trim. But we've got Wilderness Trail's 8-year weeded. This one's bottled in bond, so coming in at 100 proof. At 8 years, this would have had to have been off their pot still and most likely back at their original location down off of 4th Street here in Danville. But I will check on that to make sure. But this is some of their oldest weeded bourbon in their stocks. And I believe they have a 12 or 15 barrel batch for this bottled and bond release. This will be dropping on August 23rd in the gift shops exclusively at Wilderness Trail Distillery on August 23rd. And then after that, it'll be going out for distribution, for full distribution. So anyway, you guys know the score by now. Wilderness Trail Distillery, this is their weeded. Here's their mash bill down at the bottom. They always use the same percentages for their rye bourbon or their weeded bourbon, just swapping out the rye and the wheat. Obviously this one is 8 years. I have had a little bit of a sip on this one, and it is amazing. And so we're gonna get this poured out. I can smell it already. It smells incredible. All right, let's go. Oh my gosh. The color on this, look, oh, I'm spilling. Oh my gosh. The color on this looks so incredible. I mean, look at that color. It's so dark and rich. That color is so dark and rich. It's like a patinaed penny. Nice and amber, and it's not even like a bright copper. This is very nicely colored. Obviously bottled in bond, so it's 100 proof. We don't need to mention that it has to be at least 4 years because this is an 8-year. This is out of one distilling season at 8 years old, which is even more impressive, that they were able to get a great batch for release out of a bottled and bond 8-year. Absolutely love that. Well, it looks great in the glass. The viscosity looks good. It's rolling. The nice legs are rolling down the side of the glass. It looks good. Let's get in. So right away, the notes I'm getting are like a really dark baker's chocolate.
Three hours later.
I know Minnick was saying hazelnut, the hazelnut spread, the Nutella on this. I'm not quite getting Nutella. I definitely get the chocolate, but I don't get the hazelnut. Really rich stone fruits, like ripe, almost falling off, like really rich stone fruits. Just ripe. But the chocolate. So in Guatemala, down there, they have got a lot of the real cacao, right? making chocolate from the actual bean, and they make a very sweet, natural chocolate. And they don't a lot of times don't dissolve the sugar, and so it's kind of grainy, but it is really, really rich and dark. That's the type of chocolate that I get with this. It's not quite your grandmother's Hershey's baking cocoa, you know what I mean? It has a lot more depth to it than that. It's got a lot of that sweetness coming up behind it. And then, of course, it's just aged. It's just in a nice little oak box, aged oak. It's 100 proof, but it's not pushing off the glass at all as far as alcohol. I'm going to call it apricots or apricots, whichever you prefer. That's the fruit I'm going with, but just dried, like a dehydrated apricot. Actually, you know the orange candies at Christmas time that you whack on the table and it splits into all the pieces? I get that. That citrus, that orange fruitiness, and then just rich chocolate just almost buried in it. Very nice. All right, let's go in on the sip. First sip is the acclimation sip. At 100, it drinks very well. Mouth watering. My goodness.
Really, the only word for it is...
I'm just salivating all over the place. All right, sip two. This is like a bourbon hot cocoa. That's exactly what this is like. A really boozy bourbon. Is there such thing as a bourbon martini? If you were to make a chocolate martini with bourbon, I don't know, what is that called? Someone look it up.
Look it up in the dictionary.
Can you make a martini with bourbon? I don't know. But if you were to make a bourbon espresso cocktail, very rich. Just all those chocolate notes, all that oak just coming up from the back. It's like a bourbon espresso martini. The more I'm getting into this, I'm picking up some more of those leathers. Like, it's almost like a fresh leather. On the nose, I'm picking more of that up now. Is that fresh kind of brand new wallet or brand new belt? Almost all the grain quality is gone. I don't get hardly any of the grain qualities that I would have found in especially the 4-year. Somewhat in the 6 is almost entirely gone out of the 8. Mouthfeel is nice and warm. I wouldn't say it's a really thick or heavy mouthfeel, but probably about a medium viscosity. It lingers. At 100 proof, I'm still able to retrohale long after I've swallowed. Just the ever little slightest bit of an alcohol hug in the mouth. I don't get a whole lot of alcohol burn unless it's just really, really hot. Something's really, really hot down my throat. But in my mouth, it's just nice and warm. Just those rich, deep chocolates. The orange or the citrus, that really ripe, dark citrus like a blood orange, or those dried apricots. Maybe even a little campfire action on the nose. Like next day. It warms your mouth, stays with you. I think this is going to be released in the distillery for about $88. I will absolutely be in line down there for that. This is truly excellent. This is really what we've been waiting for. For 4 years, we've been waiting for this. I know some of these barrels were up to and over 8.5 years that went into this batch. So this has to be some of their very oldest stuff. Hats off to everybody at Wilderness Trail. Hats off to Pat and Shane for getting this started. Hats off to the guys in the lab who were in charge of picking the barrels for this batch. I mean, truly excellent work. This is what I look for in kind of not quite middle-aged bourbon. I guess it would be 12 years, kind of max end. This is 8, so a little bit older. Getting more of that citrus and leather notes. The chocolate is kind of dissipating a little bit. I think that goes with when you have your taste buds and whatnot kind of working with the alcohol for a little while. That sweetness kind of dissipates, and those richer, heavier, darker notes start coming forward. Yeah, no problem there whatsoever. Buy bar pass, instant buy. I mean,
it's nice when there's a surprise.
Look, I've got about everything they've ever released anyway, but I buy it not because they're just down the road. I buy it because they're quality. And this is some of the best 8-year-old bourbon, especially wheated bourbon, I've had. And bottled and bond, 100 proof. You know that the standard is there for what they're going after, and I absolutely love it. Instant buy. Thank you, Pat and Shane. Thank you for all the folks over there at Wilderness Trail for getting us hooked up with your 8-year. Cannot wait to go down and pick it up live and in person. And y'all, my name is Jeremy James. I'm the Bourbon Realtor. This is your, I guess, Whiskey Wednesday. I don't even know what day we're going to drop it. Anyway, we'll catch you all next time.